What you're talking about here is we are on a never-ending learning journey, right? But we want to feel like we get it. We know our ICP. We understand them. Like it's an uncomfortable place to say, I always need to keep learning. And what I do know may not be true. That's not a comfortable place to be. And Luna, you actually even gave a really great story about one customer and one prospect that had major upheaval. There was 1 week where all of a sudden everything that was known kind of got
Yeah.
thrown up. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, okay. So definitely it happened not that long ago when we were in a long negotiation process with the customer. Everything really looked well. We went through lengthy legal, we went through all the negotiation processes, we went through, I would say, 4, 5 just stakeholders that were supposed to give us their blessing that, yeah, we can go, they can go with ROI Hunter. So we really did the whole dance. And just before we were supposed to sign everything and get started, well, we have started hearing nothing, nothing, zilch. And we were like, what the hell is going on? There were all the right signals. We went through all the process. We had buy-in, but nobody was communicating with us. Well, then we found out the entire marketing department was fired. So it's like, okay, how can you really operate in this environment when things can be changing so drastically and dramatically? Who do you then talk to? How do you ensure that there is a stability? Well, it's very difficult. So I will kind of tie it to also what Sanya was saying, and I'll try to also tie it into internally because there's another quite interesting thing. And I expect to hear happy birthday because just last week, ROI Hunter had its 11th birthday. So that's something that we celebrated. By the way, I'm still not hearing happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So it's like very interesting because we have been right now discussing things externally towards customers, how things are changing out in the market, but also it goes internally as well. And I'll give you yet another situation that I've been dealing with quite frequently. And it also ties into the company being more than a decade old. And it's really about a situation when I've been discussing with finance a lot exceptions here, exceptions there. And they are very frustrated quite often, and rightfully so. And they've been challenging me like, okay, Lena, why are we always giving exceptions? It seems like we don't know what we are doing. Well, we don't. We really don't, because the market has been changing so frequently. And what we see internally is that right now need to build a common understanding, and that kind of gets us back to internal alignment, but I would say also internal trust, nurturing that. So there exists a common understanding about what really the business needs to move forward and ensuring that people who care, and those are frequently found also in finance and operation, that they have seen at the table and are not just passengers, and they really see what is happening out in the market. So they will be able to help us. And as I said before, I also quite often have those discussions about policies and exceptions, and they are often like well-intentioned policies. But since we are like 10, 11 years old now, they are very detailed, too detailed for our own good. And those not only provide firm structure, but they also invite those exceptions far, far too often. So more than they are currently helping in a market situation that is ever changing, and we really need to find a way how to operate and revalidate everything. They more than are helping, they are actually souring relationships. So that kind of gets me to the point that I think that the common understanding needs to be that right now we really live in turbulent times that goes both externally as well as internally. And we have to and we should retain rational boundaries that will enable us to perform and deliver as a team, but not too detailed that would basically bound our hands, bound us to have those discussions about intra-departmental micromanagement, dealing with exceptions, dealing with beef that may happen between two people, both well-meaning, or two teams, both well-meaning, but not really understanding that we are really living in the situation where the rules are ever changing and the game is changing every week, every month, every year, far too often.